through introspection and hard work. My goal is to give others encouragement and stamina to soar. My parents were legally denied the right to marry in 1947 because they were not the same race. They were vilified and hated for loving each other, yet they chose to stand in their love. Society evolves by people risking to live what they believe is right for them. Slowly, acceptance dawns in our culture because a group of rebels fights for their rights. I still find my parents' convictions and courage remarkable, and tell their story with mine as a symbol of thousands of people who willingly fight to liberate us all. Looking back, I have gathered the beauty and completeness of these years, the strength of my parents, and the exquisiteness of my life with Carlos. I have been to Paris, London, Tokyo, Osaka, Barcelona, Madrid, Sydney, Melbourne, Acapulco, Puerto Vallarta, Puerto Rico, Kingston, Tobago, Geneva, Zurich, Moscow, New York, and Taos. I have visited El Prado, the Duomo, Britain's Natural History Museum, and Zen temples, learning sacred history and cultural customs. I have met famous people and people working in anonymity with great humility and power. Carlos's musical mission was always our focus, and our experiences have been sublime. If I had designed my own existence, I may have lit on a course of study, seeking a depth of knowledge in one area, or I may have served as a hospice worker, helping children and adults come to terms with the power of their transition from this life to the next. I definitely would have chosen to be seen as an individual. In writing this memoir, I have followed a labyrinth to my heart and have become aware that the wholeness I saw in others existed in the struggles and triumphs of my life and my marriage, in the loving kindness of years survived and cherished. The words in this book are my remembrance of what I have lived on my journey, a prayer to my amplified life, nuggets of truth from my soul. May each listener see their own life as sacred, every experience as holy. San Francisco, California, 1960. The summer I was 9, I climbed to the top of our hill, grabbing handfuls of dry, sweet grass to pull me over jagged rocks. I stood looking out at San Francisco unfurled before me, a mix of winding streets that trailed into the sky or tipped into the soft blue bay. Sunlight strained to warm me through the fog, and people drifted like watercolors on a page, hues of dark and light, diverse as the world. My sister Kitsan, almost 2 years older than me, thought she was queen. She climbed ahead of me to the top of the bluff, holding stalks of anise toward the sky, the scent of licorice sifting down to me. We played hide and seek and Mother May I with the kids on our block and rode on coasters we made from planks of wood nailed to ball bearings, shrieking wildly as we careened down the smooth sidewalk, our hands clasping a circle of rope, a close-knit passel of friends.
Better than I do myself. Love my baby better than I do myself. When I got home this morning, I found she was loving somebody else.
My father, Saunders King, was a flinty observer of life, a man who spoke only when necessary. Singing was his language. He carried society's racism and his personal view of right and wrong, a knife's blade beneath his steely control. His life as a guitarist and singer fulfilled him, and he tried to never compromise his art by working a 9-to-5 job. Mom was an outspoken Irish-English woman who fell in love and married Dad, an African-American man, in the 1940s. She worked full-time in an era when it was acceptable, if not expected, that women stay at home with their children and sublimate their dreams and desires to help their husbands reach theirs. Mom loved working, and Dad loved being at home with Kits on and me during the day before going to his gigs at nightclubs. Our family was not at all defined by the traditional American mores of 1951, the year I was born. Sundays, Dad would drive Mom, Kits on, and me across the Bay Bridge for church. Dad's brother Ulysses was pastor of Christ Holy Sanctified Church, the Pentecostal house of worship started by their father, Judge King, and Sarah, their mother. Church service began at 11 in the morning with the choir marching through the front doors in their white robes with red satin collars. The choir bounced like springs, singing about the holiness of God, and I believed. Church grounded me in the heavens, telling me through sermons that life was full of strife, but that God was a present help in times of trouble. Call on Him, and you will find peace, their powerful voices sang. Every August, 3 of Mom's 4 sisters converged on our house in San Francisco. Aunt Nita and Aunt Ginger from Chicago, and Aunt Nomi from South San Francisco. Our living room, with the Sears Roebuck sofa and a black and white TV beside the upright piano, became a land of stories and bebop music. Mom reminisced about picking cotton with her sisters in Arizona when she was 5, how raw and pricked their fingers got. Dad remembered his first singing lessons with Mrs. Forsythe in Oakland. She had taught him to enunciate his words and sing from his diaphragm. Aunt Ginger had introduced Mom to Dad in 1947 when Dad's band, the Saunders King Orchestra, was playing at the Cafe Society in Chicago. She and Uncle Stan had become Dad's fans, listening to him in San Francisco at the Club Savoy. Our scrapbook had a photo of Dad in a sleek dark suit and black bow tie, his white shirt stark against his smooth charcoal skin. His eyes glimmered with starry light, his teeth straight and white beneath his mustache. He sang and played his guitar with his sextet, and often sat in with Billie Holiday, Charlie Mingus, and T-Bone Walker. Dad played Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong on the turntable in our living room. Aunt Nita, Aunt Ginger, and Mom laid out cards for group solitaire in the kitchen. Aunt Daisy, Dad's sister, who lived in Berkeley, came over with fried chicken, collard greens, and sweet potato pies that she had made in her apartment late at night. Dad smiled big, listening to the music and playing his guitar along with the records. He would curl his lip and shake his head if he didn't like the intonation or choice of his notes. Our aunts snapped their fingers to the beat, and Daisy moved her head side to side, her arms bent upward like a funky Egyptian dancer. Our aunts said what they thought about each other and the world while pinching our cheeks and hugging us into their soft breasts. Kitson and I adored them and loved how alive our house became when we were all together. Late at night, voices buzzed, ice cubes were plunked into drinks, and Dad's velvety tenor serenaded us through our bedroom door. Mom was the only one who didn't drink, because her father drank and smoked himself to death. That didn't seem to bother her sisters, who loved to make cocktails while Dad kept the music hot. My first lesson in who I was came on a Saturday when I was 9. I had just come in from playing on the hill, and I was waiting for Mom to take Kitson and me to the Stonestown Library for our weekend ritual of borrowing books to read during the week. Mom devoured Agatha Christie and Ian Fleming. Kitson and I, Nancy Drew and young fiction. Mom, Aunt Nita, Aunt Ginger, and Dad were in the kitchen, sitting around the wooden table that I had poked my name into with a fork. Aunt Ginger pulled me onto her lap, her pedal pusher smooth against my legs. Her hair was a rusty red, and she wore it swept up into a French twist, which made her nose look pointy and her ears very small. I folded my hands across my tummy, and she rubbed her palms over my fingers. Mom sat across the table, her brunette hair falling softly onto her high cheekbones. She looked like a model in her navy blue dress with small white polka dots and a thin belt that showed off her tiny waist. Dad sat near the window, his legs crossed.